There is a certain kind of man most people misunderstand. He doesn't talk much. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't rush to be seen or heard. At first, he may seem ordinary, almost invisible. But with time, something strange happens. While louder men fade, he becomes harder to forget. This is not an accident. Silence, when chosen, is not emptiness. It is intention. It is the mark of a man who has learned the cost of careless words and the value of restraint. A man who understands that real strength does not announce itself. In a world addicted to noise, oversharing, and constant validation, this man feels different. His presence slows the room. His calm unsettles expectations. His restraint creates gravity. People lean in, not because he demands attention, but because he doesn't. And this quiet pull is what creates attraction that lasts. Welcome to the channel, Stoic Love Wisdom. This is where we will learn, explore, and share valuable lessons about love. In today's video, I will reveal to you 6 reasons why men who talk less have lasting appeal, a new perspective, helping you better understand the factors that determine a happy and sustainable relationship. Let's explore with me the secrets to building a strong and meaningful love. Before we start, find a quiet place, put on your headphones and relax. Let all your worries melt away, and let the messages in this video help you calm down and feel the most complete. Are you ready? Let's start now. Reason number 1, he speaks less because he thinks more. I've learned something over the years, something most men only understand after they've made enough mistakes. The men who speak the least often carry the most weight inside them. When I was younger, I believed that words were power. I thought if I explained myself well enough, argued convincingly enough, or expressed my feelings clearly enough, people would understand my value. Women would feel closer. Life would become easier. I was wrong. Experience teaches you that life doesn't reward noise. It rewards clarity. And clarity is born in silence. A man who speaks less usually does so not because he has nothing to say, but because he has learned the cost of careless words. He has seen how words, once released, cannot be taken back. He has learned that emotions pass, but statements linger. So instead of reacting, he reflects. Instead of speaking impulsively, he waits. This is not weakness. This is discipline. From a Stoic perspective, silence is not emptiness, it is control. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that we should spend less time talking about what a good man is and more time being one. The man who speaks less understands this instinctively. His mind is always working, measuring consequences, weighing meaning, separating what matters from what does not. In love, this trait becomes incredibly attractive. Why? Because most people speak to release tension. They talk to feel heard. They talk to soothe their insecurity. A man who thinks more than he speaks does not need constant validation. He does not rush to explain himself. He is comfortable with pauses. Comfortable with not being immediately understood. That calm creates gravity. When a woman sits across from a man like this, she feels something unusual. There is no performance. No verbal fireworks. No emotional chaos. Instead, there is presence. Stillness. Awareness. She senses that this man is not trying to impress her, he is trying to understand the moment. And that changes everything. A thoughtful man listens more than he talks. Not because he lacks opinions, but because he values information over attention. He watches tone, body language, silence between words. He hears what is not being said. Over time, this makes him emotionally intelligent in a way that cannot be faked. Stoicism teaches us that we must first govern our inner world before attempting to influence the outer one. The man who thinks deeply before speaking has already won half the battle. He does not let emotions hijack his mouth. He does not argue to win. He speaks to be precise. And when he finally does speak, people listen. In relationships, this quality builds trust. His words are rare, but they are consistent. He does not promise easily, but when he does, he keeps it. He does not exaggerate his feelings, but when he says, "I care," it is not a performance, it is a conclusion reached after reflection. This makes his affection feel earned, not given away cheaply. Over time, people begin to associate his silence with depth, with maturity, with strength. They understand that behind his quiet exterior is a man who has faced disappointment, betrayal, loss, and chose to grow rather than complain. Silence becomes his armor. Not the armor of fear, but the armor of self-mastery. In love, women often feel safest with men who do not react impulsively. A man who thinks more than he speaks does not escalate conflict unnecessarily. He does not say things in anger that poison trust. He allows emotions to pass before responding. This restraint creates emotional stability, which is far more attractive than dramatic passion. Stoic love is not cold. It is warm, but controlled. It is affection without desperation. Desire without chaos. And that begins with thought. A man who speaks less because he thinks more understands that silence gives him leverage, not over others, but over himself. And self-control, once mastered, becomes irresistible. Because in a world full of noise, the man who chooses silence stands out. Not loudly, but permanently. Reason number 2, he doesn't speak much because he has nothing to prove. There comes a moment in a man's life when he realizes something unsettling. The need to explain himself is often a sign of insecurity. When I was younger, I tried hard to be understood. I defended my choices. I justified my silence. I explained my intentions. I wanted people, especially women, to see the good man inside me. What I didn't understand then was this. A man who knows who he is does not argue for his worth. Men who speak less often do so because they've reached this realization. They no longer feel the urge to convince anyone of their value. They don't rush to correct assumptions. They don't chase approval. They don't narrate their character. They let time do the talking. Stoicism teaches that the only thing truly under our control is our own character. Not opinions. Not validation. Not how others perceive us. A man who has internalized this truth becomes quiet, not because he is unsure, but because he is settled. He has nothing to prove. In love, this quality is powerful. Most men talk too much because they want to be chosen. They perform competence. They advertise confidence. They overshare emotions to appear open. Beneath it all lies a subtle anxiety: see me. Pick me. Validate me. The man who speaks less is not playing this game. He understands that attraction is not created by persuasion, it is revealed through consistency. He shows up the same way on good days and bad days. His mood is not hostage to attention. His self-worth does not rise or fall based on how he is perceived in a moment. This creates a rare kind of stability. When a woman encounters a man like this, she feels something unfamiliar. He is not trying to win her over. He is not trying to impress. He is simply present, grounded in himself. That presence is magnetic. A man with nothing to prove does not brag about his achievements. He does not exaggerate his struggles to appear deep. He does not posture emotionally. He allows his actions, habits, and boundaries to speak on his behalf. Stoics believe that virtue does not announce itself. It reveals itself under pressure. The quiet man understands this intuitively. He knows that real strength is visible only when tested, when temptation appears, when conflict arises, when ego is challenged. In relationships, this becomes especially clear. He does not argue to dominate. He does not explain endlessly to be understood. He states his position calmly, once. Then he allows the other person to decide how they respond. He is not attached to outcomes he cannot control. This emotional self-sufficiency is deeply attractive. Why? Because it signals abundance, not in money or options, but in identity. He is not afraid to lose approval because he is not built on it. He is not desperate to be liked because he already respects himself. Stoic love is rooted in choice, not need. A man who has nothing to prove chooses a woman not because he fears loneliness, but because he values connection. He does not chase. He does not beg. He does not perform. He invites, and if the invitation is not met, he walks away without bitterness. Silence, in this context, becomes a form of confidence. He does not fill the air with words to cover discomfort. He allows silence to exist because he is not afraid of being alone with himself. And people sense this immediately. In a world where most men are explaining, justifying, and selling themselves, the man who remains quiet stands apart. His restraint suggests depth. His composure suggests experience. His lack of urgency suggests power. Over time, people begin to lean in. Not because he demands attention, but because he doesn't. And that is the paradox. The man who no longer seeks validation becomes the man others instinctively validate. Because true confidence is not loud. It is still. It is grounded. It is silent. Love is not always about brilliant moments, but often about patience, listening and accompanying in every small step. It is those simple things that nurture a lasting bond. That is also the reason why I believe that every experience in love is an opportunity for us to grow and become stronger. If you feel this, please click like as a way to spread positivity to more people. And if this is your first time visiting our channel, click subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any lessons. I also look forward to hearing your thoughts. What is the smallest but most meaningful thing you have ever realized in love? Leave a comment below, maybe your answer will become a source of inspiration for others. Now, let's continue our journey to explore deeper perspectives right away. Reason number 3, his silence creates mystery, and mystery sustains desire. There is a truth most men discover too late. What is fully revealed too quickly loses its power. In my younger years, I believed openness meant saying everything, sharing every thought, every fear, every desire. I thought intimacy was built through constant explanation. I believed that if someone knew all of me, they would stay. What experience taught me instead was this. Desire does not grow in overexposure. It grows in space. A man who speaks less understands this instinctively. Not because he is manipulative, but because he respects the natural rhythm of human connection. He knows that mystery is not about hiding, it is about allowing discovery to unfold over time. Stoicism teaches restraint. Not suppression, but discipline. The quiet man practices restraint with his words because he understands that not every thought deserves a voice, and not every feeling requires immediate expression. This restraint creates mystery. And mystery is powerful. When a man does not constantly explain himself, the mind of the other person begins to work. Questions arise. Curiosity grows. Attention deepens. Silence invites imagination, and imagination is where desire lives. A man who fills every silence with words leaves nothing to explore. A man who allows silence gives the other person room to lean in. This is especially true in love. Women are not drawn to men who reveal everything at once. They are drawn to men who reveal themselves gradually, through actions, consistency, and subtle emotional cues. The quiet man allows this process to happen naturally. He does not overshare his wounds. He does not dramatize his past. He does not explain his complexity. He lets time reveal his character layer by layer. And this creates lasting intrigue. From a Stoic perspective, mystery is not a tactic, it is a byproduct of self-containment. A man who is at peace with himself does not feel the need to externalize everything. He does not chase emotional release through words. He processes internally first. That internal processing gives him depth. People sense this depth even if they cannot articulate it. There is something beneath the surface. Something unspoken. Something unresolved, not in a broken way, but in a human way. This is what makes his presence compelling. Silence also protects intimacy. A man who speaks less does not cheapen his inner world by exposing it to everyone. He chooses carefully who earns access to his thoughts and emotions. This selectivity increases value. Not artificially, but naturally. What is rare is cherished. In relationships, this creates polarity. He does not collapse into emotional transparency prematurely. He allows trust to build before vulnerability deepens. This pacing prevents burnout, boredom, and emotional fatigue. Stoic love understands that desire requires tension, not conflict, but distance. Not distance in affection, but distance in revelation. You do not give someone the entire map at once. You let them walk the terrain with you. The quiet man understands this without trying. He also understands something else. Silence filters people. Those who demand constant explanation, reassurance, and emotional availability often reveal their own insecurity. The man who remains calm and reserved allows these dynamics to surface naturally. He observes rather than reacts. This discernment protects him from shallow connections. And when a woman finally earns his openness, when he chooses to speak deeply, it carries weight. His words feel intentional. Earned. Intimate. Not because he rarely speaks, but because he speaks with purpose. That contrast creates emotional impact. Stoicism is often misunderstood as emotional distance. In truth, it is emotional precision. The quiet man is not emotionally unavailable, he is emotionally selective. He does not confuse expression with intimacy. And that distinction matters. Over time, his silence becomes associated with confidence, depth, and self-respect. He is not predictable. Not because he plays games, but because life has taught him that complexity cannot be rushed. In a world where everyone is constantly explaining themselves, broadcasting their thoughts, and seeking attention, the man who preserves mystery becomes unforgettable. Not because he demands fascination, but because he allows it. Silence does not make him distant. It makes him compelling. Reason number 4, when he speaks, his words carry weight. One of the most painful lessons I've learned as a man is this. Words lose value when they are given away too easily. When you speak all the time, people stop listening, not because they don't care, but because nothing you say feels deliberate. Noise numbs attention. Repetition dulls impact. The man who speaks less understands this not as a strategy, but as a consequence of living. He has learned, often through regret, that words spoken in anger linger longer than emotions themselves. That promises made too easily become debts. That explanations offered too often weaken authority. So he becomes careful. In Stoicism, speech is an extension of character. Epictetus warned that we should first learn to listen before we speak, because nature gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. The quiet man lives this truth. He does not speak to fill silence. He speaks to add meaning. Because of this, when he finally opens his mouth, the room changes. People lean in. Not because he is loud, but because he is precise. In relationships, this quality is rare, and deeply attractive. A man whose words carry weight does not talk in circles during conflict. He does not escalate emotion with unnecessary commentary. He says what needs to be said, clearly and calmly, and then he stops. There is no excess. No emotional overflow. No verbal clutter. This restraint creates trust. When he says he cares, it is not a habit, it is a decision. When he gives reassurance, it does not feel performative, it feels grounded. When he sets boundaries, they feel firm rather than reactive. And because he does not speak often, his words land. This is the difference between men who talk to be heard and men who speak to be understood. Stoic love values truth over comfort. The quiet man does not sugarcoat reality to avoid discomfort. But neither does he weaponize honesty. His words are measured, guided by wisdom rather than impulse. He knows that silence before speech is where judgment is formed. When disagreements arise, he does not rush to defend his ego. He pauses. He listens. He reflects. And when he responds, his words cut through confusion rather than add to it. This makes him a stabilizing force. Women often feel emotionally safe with men like this, not because they say the right things, but because they don't say careless ones. Emotional safety is built less on romantic language and more on predictability and self-control. A man whose words carry weight is predictable in the best way. He does not contradict himself. He does not say one thing today and another tomorrow. His language reflects his inner alignment. And alignment is attractive. From a Stoic perspective, speech should serve virtue. The quiet man asks himself, consciously or not, 3 questions before speaking. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it beneficial? If the answer is no, he remains silent. Over time, this discipline sharpens his presence. People begin to associate his voice with clarity. When he gives advice, it is sought. Not because he forces it, but because it has proven reliable. In love, this manifests as leadership, not dominance, but direction. He does not need to talk constantly to guide the relationship. His consistency does the work for him. And when he expresses emotion, rarely, intentionally, it feels intimate. Powerful. Real. A single sentence from him can carry more emotional impact than paragraphs from someone else. Not because he is withholding, but because he is intentional. This is why silence amplifies his voice. In a world overflowing with opinions, explanations, and emotional noise, the man who speaks with restraint becomes an anchor. His words are not background sound, they are signals. And signals matter. Because when a man's words consistently align with his actions, trust forms naturally. Attraction deepens quietly. Respect grows without being demanded. His voice becomes something people wait for. Not because it is frequent, but because it is worth hearing. Love is a great lesson in maturity. It challenges us with fragility, teaches us patience through waiting, and gives us strength after being hurt. Here, I don't just tell stories for you to listen to, but for you to reflect on yourself and find your own lessons. If you find it valuable, please click like and subscribe, so you don't miss out on the shares that can change the way you look at love. Now, get ready with me, because the rest will have a lot more depth waiting for you. Reason number 5, he controls his emotions instead of being controlled by them. One of the most important lessons life teaches a man, if he is willing to learn, is this. Emotions are powerful servants, but terrible masters. When I was younger, I believed that intensity meant sincerity. I thought that strong reactions proved how much I cared. I raised my voice when I felt unheard. I spoke quickly when I felt threatened. I expressed everything immediately, believing honesty meant urgency. Experience taught me otherwise. The men who last, The men whose presence feels solid rather than exhausting, are not emotionless. They are emotionally disciplined. A man who speaks less often does so because he has learned how dangerous unfiltered emotion can be. He has seen how anger destroys trust, how insecurity leaks through words, how fear disguises itself as control. So he chooses mastery over expression. This is the heart of Stoicism. Stoic philosophy does not deny emotion. It demands responsibility for it. The quiet man understands that his feelings are real, but they are not always true. He allows emotion to arise, but he does not allow it to decide his behavior. This creates an unmistakable calm. In relationships, emotional regulation is one of the strongest signals of masculine stability. A man who can remain composed during tension becomes a refuge. His presence lowers chaos rather than feeding it. Women feel this immediately. When conflict appears, most men react. They interrupt. They defend. They escalate. Their words become weapons or shields. The emotionally disciplined man pauses. He breathes. He observes his internal state before responding. That pause changes everything. It means he does not say things he will regret. It means he does not punish his partner with silence or sarcasm. It means he does not turn disagreement into drama. He addresses issues without becoming them. Stoic love values equanimity. Not because it avoids passion, but because it preserves respect. A man who controls his emotions does not confuse volatility with depth. He understands that true intimacy requires safety, and safety requires predictability. This man does not explode when challenged. He does not collapse when criticized. He does not beg when insecure. He stands firm, not rigid, but grounded. And this grounding creates trust. Over time, his partner learns something powerful. He is steady even when life is not. That steadiness is deeply attractive because it allows vulnerability without fear. When a woman knows a man will not emotionally overwhelm her, she can relax. She can speak honestly. She can feel deeply without managing his reactions. This is quiet strength. The man who speaks less has often paid the price for emotional impulsiveness in the past. He has lost respect. He has damaged relationships. He has learned, sometimes painfully, that self-control is not suppression, but refinement. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control external events, but we can control our response to them. The quiet man lives by this rule. He does not try to dominate situations, he dominates himself. And self-mastery is magnetic. When he finally expresses emotion, it is clear and measured. He does not dramatize his pain. He does not exaggerate his desire. He communicates with honesty, not intensity. This makes his emotions trustworthy. In love, trust is everything. A man who controls his emotions creates long-term attraction because he is safe to build with. His presence does not exhaust. His reactions do not destabilize. His consistency becomes the foundation upon which intimacy can grow. Silence plays a role here. By speaking less, he gives emotions time to settle. He lets reason catch up. He allows perspective to form. This pause prevents countless unnecessary wounds. In a world where emotional chaos is normalized, where impulsive reactions are mistaken for authenticity, the man who remains composed stands apart. Not because he is cold, but because he is conscious. He understands that love is not about emotional fireworks. It is about endurance. About weathering storms without becoming the storm. And that endurance begins with emotional discipline. The man who controls his emotions does not need to speak often. His calm speaks for him. Reason number 6, his attraction is quiet, but it endures. There is a kind of attraction that arrives loudly. It dazzles. It excites. It burns fast. And then, just as quickly, it fades. I've seen this pattern repeat itself over and over, both in my own life and in the lives of men around me. Loud charm creates instant chemistry, but it rarely creates stability. It impresses in the moment, but it struggles to endure time. The quiet man is different. His attraction does not announce itself. It does not demand attention. It does not seek validation. It unfolds slowly, almost unnoticed at first. And that is precisely why it lasts. Stoic philosophy teaches us that what is aligned with nature endures, while what is excessive collapses under its own weight. The quiet man's appeal is aligned with this principle. He does not force connection. He allows it to grow at its natural pace. In love, this makes all the difference. At first, he may seem unremarkable. He does not dominate conversations. He does not perform confidence. He does not flood the other person with emotion or promises. But as time passes, something subtle happens. People begin to feel calmer around him. Safer. More grounded. And those feelings accumulate. His attraction is built not on intensity, but on consistency. He shows up the same way today as he did yesterday. His mood is stable. His values are clear. His presence is reliable. Reliability is rare. And rarity creates value. The quiet man understands that attraction is not sustained by excitement alone. Excitement fades. Novelty fades. But character does not, if it is cultivated. Stoic love is rooted in endurance. It values long-term harmony over short-term passion. The quiet man does not try to be unforgettable in a night. He becomes unforgettable over years. Because his behavior aligns with his words. Because his actions are predictable in the best way. Because his silence never hides instability, only depth. In relationships, this creates a slow burn attachment. The kind that strengthens with time rather than weakening under familiarity. The kind that does not need constant stimulation to survive. A woman may not feel overwhelmed by him at first. But she feels at ease. And ease is the foundation of lasting desire. As life becomes more complex, stress, conflict, uncertainty, his value increases. When chaos enters, he remains composed. When problems arise, he does not panic. He becomes the stable point others orient themselves around. This is when his attraction becomes undeniable. The quiet man ages well, not just physically, but emotionally. His appeal is not dependent on trends, charm, or performance. It is rooted in maturity. In self-knowledge. In restraint. While louder men burn out, he deepens. While others chase validation, he builds presence. While excitement fades, trust remains. And trust is the strongest form of attraction there is. Stoicism reminds us that time reveals truth. The quiet man does not fear time. He welcomes it. Because time works in his favor. His consistency becomes proof. His silence becomes strength. His calm becomes refuge. This is why people often realize his value too late. They mistake quiet for lack. Stillness for absence. Restraint for weakness. Until life tests them. And then they remember the man who did not react, did not boast, did not break. The man who remained. His attraction does not compete. It endures. In the end, the quiet man is not unforgettable because he made noise. He is unforgettable because he stayed solid when everything else changed. And that is the deepest form of masculine appeal there is. Conclusion. As life moves forward, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. The men who last are rarely the loudest ones. They are the ones who learned when to speak, and when silence was wiser. The ones who stopped proving and started becoming. The ones who mastered themselves before trying to master love. A quiet man is not empty. He is contained. Behind his silence is thought. Behind his restraint is discipline. Behind his calm is experience paid for with mistakes, loss, and growth. Stoic love does not chase attention. It does not beg to be chosen. It stands rooted in character and allows time to reveal its value. And time is always honest. In a world addicted to noise, oversharing, and constant validation, the quiet man feels rare. His presence slows things down. His consistency creates safety. His restraint builds trust. His words, few but deliberate, shape reality rather than decorate it. He does not impress quickly. He does not burn brightly. He endures. This is the kind of attraction that survives familiarity, conflict, and change. Not because it is exciting, but because it is stable. Not because it overwhelms, but because it supports. Stoicism teaches us that strength is not found in dominance, but in self-mastery. The quiet man embodies this truth. He controls his emotions. He honors his values. He chooses love consciously rather than emotionally. And that choice, made again and again, is what creates lasting attraction. In the end, silence is not what makes him powerful. It is what his silence represents. Depth. Discipline. Presence. The quiet man does not demand to be remembered. He is remembered, because he remains. So today's video has ended. Thank you for taking the time to watch it all. I hope you have learned valuable lessons and these shares will help you on your love journey. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to receive more interesting content in the future. I'm very grateful for your support and see you again in the next videos. Wishing you all love and happiness.